Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. You are seeing me in front of my new light, which hopefully you enjoy. And my little setup in I'm calling it a studio, is finally coming together. And if you're interested in like a tour of it or something, let me know, drop a comment below or something, and I can always do a bit of a tour, because I've certainly made a lot of changes since moving into Tooting and moving into our new home, which has been, a dream. And I'm really, really proud of it. So I know a lot of you watching are coaches yourselves or online coaches, and maybe you in future want your own little studio space, or you want some inspiration for your current space, because I started, with like a laptop on top of books, and just had like Apple headphones with the inbuilt mic, and now I have a much more sophisticated setup, which just kind of mirrors my development in my career as such. So however, this video is not about that. This video is in fact going to be me walking you through my Friday upper body session, my AM session. In this session I do some obviously pushing, some pulling, and I'm basically just going to talk you through how this third session compares to some of the midweek sessions, and how you might want to go about undulating, which just means making different your rep ranges or absolute intensities, and then also exercise selection, so that you can best make use of kind of stress response adaptation curves. So essentially you stress a muscle group, it responds and adapts. And so you kind of want it to have responded and adapted before you train it again, and you don't want to be coming into sessions fatigued. And when you're training at higher training frequencies, and I would say anything above 2 for main muscle groups like your chest and your back, you have to be a bit more careful with undulations, whether that be volume, exercise selection, or absolute intensities, even relative intensities if you wanted to. So I'll walk you through that as we get into things, of course, back in Yorkies. So I start off with a machine overhead press. I am purposely setting up in a way where I am more so not just trying to hit the anterior delts, so the front delts, but I'm also setting up in a way to have my arse slightly off or towards the end of the bench, and more of an arch in my lower back, and less upright essentially. So I'm almost in like a high incline position to hit the upper chest. For me, as you guys may know, that is one of my weaker areas and an area I really need to bring up. So it's great actually having this movement in here. And earlier in the week, I don't have any overhead pressing or any high incline pressing, especially early on in the session. I have more kind of some moderate incline and some flat pressing during the week. For this movement, I'm in a slightly lower rep range than kind of my next movement, which I will come on to. But that's where I haven't really somewhat attacked or stressed my upper chest, and my clavicular chest, if you will, and my anterior deltoids to a high degree. And so I managed to do that on this prime piece, which I definitely get a good kind of stimulus to fatigue ratio for this movement. And if I was to sit like strictly back upright, it would probably, I've done it actually, it would just feel very much in triceps and interior delts, and that's not really where I want my upper chest, and that's a really key area for me to develop. So that's why I have that set up like that. So then we come into my machine chest press. So I am using this Cybex Eagle press 2 times per week. But my earlier session in the week, it is used as like a for earlier in the session, whereas this is done later in the session. It's after another movement, and I'm also using a higher rep range here. So earlier in the week, I'm using more so like the 10 to 15 rep range for this, whereas here I'm using the 15 to 20 rep range. So you just slightly tax different tax the muscle in a slightly different way. Potentially you're attacking more of the like slower twitch muscle fibers versus the fast twitch muscle fibers, which might respond to kind of heavier loading. So I get a mega pump from this movement as well. I also, in this session, because I am primarily trying to hit like the clavicular head, that first movement is the one that I am biasing volume towards. So I might be doing something like, I think I did maybe 5 sets for the overhead press, and then I only did 2 sets for the machine press here. So after that machine press, I then go into, what is it I went into? So it's, yes, the Strive machine row, which you guys know I really enjoy. And I actually got a few comments when I was performing this before about kind of letting my chest off the pad, which is interesting because I definitely had that preconceived notion that with these kind of chest supported row machines, you should always keep your chest on the pad. That's why the pad's there. But in actuality, I don't agree with that anymore. I think my thought was if your chest comes off the pad, you're kind of using other muscle groups and you're swinging and using momentum. But I think actually if you're using it in a way so you actually keep your stomach on the pad, so you've still got that touch point for stability, and you let your kind of back arch in a way so you lean back slightly, you just end up using a little bit more total back musculature and you just get more bang for buck from this movement. So for me, it keeps my elbows more in line with my torso too, so my elbows aren't like coming really far back behind me, and when you get back there, it's like a lot of people will say it's like all rear delt, and you can only pull so far back. So by kind of moving with my elbows as I come back, I just get a bit more range of motion, overall a better stimulus to fatigue ratio. You may have seen kind of like Mike Israetel and some of the Renaissance periodization boys perform it similarly, and ever since I have used that very much of a stretch over the top of the machine and then a nice squeeze back, it just lights up my entire back. And the really cool thing with the Stride machine is, you guys know, I can prioritize making it harder in the stretch position, and then as I am coming back and shortening the muscle as I also get weaker, it drops off and it just feels sublime, and I get great contractions from this machine. I also use this machine twice per week. Now I differentiate and I undulate the rep range. So earlier in the week, again, it's in the 10 to 15. Here it's in the 15 to 20 rep range. I'm also changing the grip. So I use a neutral grip here versus the other session is a pronated grip. I also prioritize this earlier in the session versus when it's in another session, it's a bit further down on the list of exercises. Yeah, so you can use these little tweaks like rep range or grip, or even where it is in the exercise order. You can use the same exercise multiple times a week potentially, and also stress your muscle in a slightly different way, so that, yeah, you might be still healing up in one area, but now you're actually attacking a slightly different area of that muscle. So then I come into my kind of lower lat pull downs, or iliac lat pull downs, which I've been enjoying, these single arm ones off the cable. I've actually experimented just today, because this is from last week, kneeling on the other leg, and it actually provides a little bit more stability, but it does feel a little bit different. I don't know which side I prefer, because I'm getting most of my stability by using one hand on the wall and pressing myself against there. So I don't necessarily need like the extra stability, but I did like it the other way. So with a lot of these things, when you have the principles down, this is just a reminder to then experiment, see what works for you. So for example, on that Strive row where I'm like arching back and getting some that slightly different movement to what some people might stay planted, try both, see which one feels better to you. Where do you get the better disruption, the feel in the muscle group? Because both are decent, like you're still using the back in a bit large way with both. So the same here, like experiment, see what feels better to you, and that's always a good thing to go by. So yeah, hopefully you've got something from me walking you through this session.
up. You be playing these games for too long. Check your phone, girl, hoping you don't ignore my company. I could've sworn the night before we were having fun. Now you're loading up a screen like you're gonna play all these games on me. Baby, do you try to play me? I'm out of lives, but please don't save me. I'm out of time, so please don't play me. Controlling my emotions, pressing my buttons all day. Got me running all around, right, left, up and down. Girl, don't you try and play me. Controlling my emotions, pressing my buttons all day.
Okay. Hey, fact or fiction, I loved you. Oops, what's true? Nobody left but us two. I crush hard like a crumple, so don't play me. Don't play me fun.
I'm now coming into, you'd think, my overreaching week, but I will probably talk you guys through it another time. But I'm looking to extend this mesocycle by an additional week because I have something booked in where I need to deload a week later. So rather than deload, do 1 week and then deload, I'm essentially kind of going to buy myself some more time so I can deload a week later, so my deload lines up a little bit better with my lifestyle, which I rarely do for myself, but I do find I'm going to see how it goes. I may have not given myself enough light days, which is essentially what I did. So then, yeah, I come into a physique update. So I'm going to let you just kind of watch over my physique update and you can enjoy that. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed something from this vlog today as I've walked you through my upper body session and a physique update. And I also had my post-workout CMP whey isolate, which I actually have been really enjoying to reflect upon that. Oat milk, whey isolate, lots of ice, and a banana. Very, very nice. And as always, of course, I am affiliated or sponsored by CMP. You can use Steve 10 to get 10. No, Steve 15. Steve 15. Don't use 10. Steve 15 for 15% off your order if you want to get some CMP products. And I appreciate that. I hopefully get some kickback. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. If you have any questions, if there's anything you'd like to see in future vlogs, do let me know. As always, it's always helpful to get that inspiration from you guys for content creation. Of course, I really do these for you guys to kind of get an insight into my life, my training, what I'm doing, and hopefully there's some take homes for you guys as well. So I'll catch you in the next one. Revive stronger as always.
Play me. I'm out of lives, but